The cyclical nightmare of failed connections, the gnawing frustration of being misunderstood, the silent battles fought within the confines of what should be a sanctuary, these are not random misfortunes. They are symptoms. Symptoms of a profound internal imbalance, a disconnect from foundational aspects of your own being that, once understood and integrated, hold the very key to unlocking not just tolerable relationships, but truly balanced, deeply fulfilling, and powerfully synergistic partnerships. Today, we delve into the core of this imbalance, into the often unseen architects of our relational destinies, the Anima and Animus. This isn't just abstract psychology, this is the Anima and Animus, Jung's secret to balanced relationships. And by the end of this journey, you will possess a framework so potent it will redefine how you see yourself, your partners, and the very nature of human connection. We're not here to offer platitudes or quick fixes. We're here to dissect the raw, often uncomfortable truths that govern our relational lives, and to equip you with the knowledge to consciously engineer strength, understanding, and profound balance from within. The modern world bombards us with superficial advice on attraction, communication, and maintaining relationships. Yet so many individuals find themselves perpetually adrift, repeating the same destructive patterns, wondering why genuine, lasting connection remains elusive. The brutal truth is that most relationship advice skims the surface, ignoring the subterranean currents of the unconscious mind where the real dynamics are forged. Carl Jung, a titan of psychological exploration, illuminated these depths, revealing the powerful contrasexual archetypes within us. The anima, the inner feminine in men, and the animus, the inner masculine in women. Understanding these isn't an intellectual exercise, it's a vital component of self-mastery and the cornerstone of building relationships that don't just survive, but thrive with an almost magnetic synergy. Ignoring them is to navigate the treacherous waters of human connection with a broken compass, constantly blaming the storms instead of understanding the faulty mechanics of your own vessel. Let's begin by dissecting the anima, the unconscious feminine principle in the male psyche. This isn't about effeminacy or a denial of masculinity, far from it. The anima represents a man's capacity for relatedness, his connection to his emotional life, his intuition, his creativity, and his ability to experience life with depth and nuance. It's the hidden wellspring of inspiration, the muse, the soul image that guides him towards wholeness. It is shaped initially by his primary feminine influence, typically the mother, but also by the collective experiences and images of the feminine throughout history. But what happens when this vital inner counterpart is unacknowledged, undeveloped, or repressed? The consequences are not just personal, they are catastrophic for his relationships. An unintegrated anima manifests in a myriad of destructive ways. You might see a man plagued by volatile moods, sudden inexplicable emotional outbursts that he himself cannot understand, let alone control. He becomes reactive, easily slighted, his emotional landscape a minefield for anyone who dares to tread near. This isn't strength. It's the mark of an inner world in chaos, a feminine aspect crying out for conscious recognition and integration. Another sign is the notorious anima projection. When a man is unconscious of his own inner feminine, he inevitably projects it onto the women in his life. He might perpetually seek the perfect woman, an idealized goddess figure who must embody all the qualities he has failed to cultivate within himself. Unconditional love, nurturing, emotional stability, intuitive wisdom. Of course, no real woman can live up to this impossible projection. The initial infatuation, driven by the intensity of the projected anima, inevitably sours into disappointment, resentment, and blame when the woman reveals herself to be a human being with her own complexities and imperfections. He then moves on, seeking another vessel for his projection, repeating the cycle of idealization and devaluation, leaving a trail of broken connections and a deepening sense of his own inadequacy. The brutal truth here is that he's not falling in love with a woman, he's falling in love with a missing part of himself, externalized. A poorly integrated anima can also lead to a crippling lack of genuine empathy and relatedness. He might be intellectually astute, capable in his career but emotionally stunted, unable to connect with his partner's feelings or offer true emotional support. Conversations about emotions feel alien, threatening, or are dismissed as irrational. This creates a chasm of loneliness within the relationship, where his partner feels unseen, unheard, and emotionally starved. His creative potential may also be stifled. The anima is deeply connected to the wellsprings of creativity. When she is ignored, inspiration dries up, life becomes mechanical, and a sense of meaninglessness can pervade his existence. Jung described several stages of anima development, which can be seen as levels of integration. The first, most primitive stage is Eve, representing the purely instinctual and biological feminine, where the woman is seen primarily as an object of desire or a provider of basic needs. Then comes Helen, where the feminine is idealized, a romantic figure but still largely a projection, as seen in epic romances. The third stage, Mary, represents a more developed spiritual and virtuous feminine, capable of providing deeper emotional connection. Finally, Sophia, wisdom, represents the fully integrated anima, where the man has incorporated the highest qualities of the feminine, profound intuition, wisdom, connection to the unconscious, and the ability to relate authentically and creatively. Reaching this stage means he no longer needs to project these qualities onto external women, but embodies them himself, leading to immense personal power and the capacity for truly mature relationships. So, how does a man begin the arduous but essential work of integrating his anima? It starts with brutal self-honesty, acknowledging the patterns of moodiness, projection, and emotional detachment. First, engage consciously with your emotional life. Instead of repressing or exploding, learn to sit with your feelings, journal about them, explore their origins. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? This isn't weakness, it's the courage to face your inner landscape. Second, cultivate creative expression. This doesn't mean you have to become a professional artist. Write, paint, play music, engage in craftsmanship, any activity that allows for non-linear, intuitive expression can help you connect with your anima. She thrives in the realm of imagination. Third, actively challenge your projections. When you find yourself intensely drawn to or repulsed by a particular quality in a woman, ask yourself if this is something you are missing or repressing within yourself. Withdraw the hook of your projection and own that quality. Fourth, develop genuine empathy. Practice active listening. Strive to understand the emotional experiences of others, particularly your partner, without judgment or trying to fix them. This builds bridges of connection that a repressed anima systematically destroys. Fifth, pay attention to your dreams. The anima often appears in dreams as a female figure, offering guidance or highlighting areas needing attention. Jung considered dream analysis a crucial tool for understanding the unconscious. The rewards of integrating the anima are transformative. A man with a well-integrated anima possesses profound emotional intelligence. He is not ruled by his moods but understands them. He is creative, intuitive, and capable of deep, meaningful connections. He doesn't seek a woman to complete him because he is already moving towards inner wholeness. He can appreciate a woman for who she truly is, not for who he needs her to be. This is the foundation of masculine strength that is rooted not in aggression or dominance, but in profound self-awareness and emotional maturity. This is the man capable of building balanced, lasting relationships. Now let's turn our attention to the animus, the unconscious masculine principle in the female psyche. Just as the anima is crucial for a man's wholeness, the animus is essential for a woman's. It represents her capacity for logic, reason, assertive action, independent thought, courage, and her connection to meaning and purpose in the world. It's her inner warrior, her sage, her pioneer. It is shaped initially by her primary masculine influence, typically the father, and by collective images of the masculine. When the animus is unintegrated or operating in the negative, it can be just as destructive as an unintegrated anima. One of the most common manifestations of a negative animus is an overabundance of rigid, unexamined opinions, often delivered with unshakable conviction but lacking real substance or thoughtful consideration. This isn't true intellectual strength, it's an unconscious parody of it. She might become argumentative, relentlessly critical, and prone to making sweeping, often harsh judgments. Instead of fostering understanding, this animus-driven opinionatedness creates distance and resentment, shutting down genuine dialogue. Her inner world, instead of being a source of clear thought, becomes a battleground of shoulds and oughts imposed on herself and others. Another sign is the projection of the animus. A woman unconscious of her own inner masculine power and agency might project it onto men. She might perpetually seek a hero or savior figure, a man who will provide all the direction, strength, and purpose she has failed to cultivate within herself. Or conversely, she might be drawn to domineering, critical men who mirror her own negative animus, leading to power struggles and toxic relationship dynamics. She might feel a sense of powerlessness or victimhood, attributing her lack of progress or fulfillment to external circumstances or the failings of the men in her life, rather than recognizing her own unactualized potential. The brutal truth here is that she's abdicating her own inner authority and seeking it externally, a recipe for perpetual disappointment. An unintegrated animus can also lead to a disconnect from her own creative power and ability to take decisive action in the world. She might have brilliant ideas but struggle to bring them to fruition, paralyzed by self-doubt or a fear of failure. Or she might engage in scattered, unfocused activity that leads nowhere, lacking the disciplined, directed energy that a well-integrated animus provides. Her thinking can become overly abstract and disconnected from reality, or she might become lost in a world of spiritual platitudes without the grounding of practical application. Jung also described stages of animus development. The first is the man of physical power, where the animus manifests as an image of brute strength or athletic prowess, think Tarzan or a sports hero. Then comes the man of action or romance, an animus that provides initiative and the capacity for planned action, but can also be romanticized. The third stage is the man of the word or professor, where the animus embodies intellectual capacity, reason, and authority. Finally, the man as spiritual guide, the highest stage, represents the integration of meaning and spiritual wisdom, connecting the woman to profound truths and purpose. When a woman reaches this level of animus integration, she embodies her own authority, speaks her truth with clarity and compassion, and acts in the world with purpose and integrity. The integration of the animus is a journey towards reclaiming one's innate power and clarity. It begins, again, with unflinching self-awareness. First, cultivate independent thought and critical reasoning. Don't just accept opinions, whether your own or others. Question them, research, formulate your beliefs based on evidence and careful consideration. Challenge the inner critic that so often accompanies a negative animus. Second, develop healthy assertiveness. Learn to express your needs, boundaries, and perspectives clearly and respectfully without aggression or passivity. This is about owning your space and your voice. The third, take conscious, purposeful action. Identify your goals and break them down into manageable steps. The animus thrives on accomplishment and directed effort. Overcome procrastination and the fear of stepping into your power. Fourth, challenge your projections onto men. When you find yourself idealizing a man's strength or intellect or being overly critical of his perceived weaknesses, ask yourself if this reflects an unowned aspect of your own masculine potential. Reclaim that power. Fifth, connect with your sense of meaning and purpose. What truly matters to you? What impact do you want to have on the world? The integrated animus provides the focused energy to pursue this purpose. A woman with a well-integrated animus is a force of nature. She is clear-thinking, articulate, courageous, and capable. She doesn't need a man to define her or save her because she is her own source of strength and direction. She can engage with men as equals, appreciating their genuine qualities without being blinded by projections. She can build relationships based on mutual respect, shared purpose, and authentic partnership. This is the bedrock of feminine power that is rooted not in manipulation or dependence, but in profound self-possession and intellectual and spiritual clarity. Now we arrive at the heart of relational dysfunction, the dance of projection. When the anima and animus remain largely unconscious and unintegrated, they are inevitably projected onto our partners. We don't see the person in front of us, we see a screen onto which we cast our own inner feminine or masculine. This is why the initial stages of many relationships feel so magical, so intense. We believe we've found our other half, the one who completes us. In reality, we've often found someone who temporarily carries our projected anima or animus. A man with an unintegrated anima, starved for the nurturing, emotional connection and intuitive wisdom he hasn't cultivated in himself, will project these qualities onto a woman. He might see her as an ethereal muse, a comforting mother figure, or a damsel in distress he can rescue. He falls in love with this image. But when the real woman inevitably fails to perfectly embody this projection, when she has her own needs, opinions, or moments of strength or weakness that don't fit the script, the illusion shatters. Resentment, disappointment, and conflict ensue. He might accuse her of changing or not being the person he thought she was. The brutal truth is, he never saw her in the first place. Similarly, a woman with an unintegrated animus, lacking a strong sense of her own inner authority, direction, or intellectual power, may project these onto a man. She might see him as an all-knowing guru, a powerful hero who will give her life meaning, or a decisive leader who will make all the hard choices. She relinquishes her power to this projected image. But when the man reveals his human fallibility, his doubts, his mistakes, his own need for support, the pedestal crumbles. She might feel betrayed, disillusioned, or become critical and contemptuous, trying to force him back into the projected role. She, too, never saw the real man, only the carrier of her unowned masculine. This dynamic of projection is the secret destroyer of countless relationships. It creates a situation where two people are not truly relating to each other, but to their own internal phantoms. The energy that should be going into mutual understanding and growth is instead consumed by the impossible task of trying to make the other person conform to an unconscious image. This is why relationships built on intense initial projection often burn out so quickly, or devolve into bitter power struggles. The disappointment is inevitable because the foundation was an illusion. The brutal truth is that you cannot build a balanced relationship on the shifting sands of projection. You are effectively trying to outsource your own psychological development to your partner, a task they are neither equipped for nor responsible for. The path out of this destructive dance is the conscious withdrawal of these projections and the courageous work of integrating the anima or animus within oneself. This is the core of Jung's secret to balanced relationships. It's not about finding the right person, it's about becoming the right person, a more whole, integrated version of yourself. Integration means consciously acknowledging, accepting, and developing those contrasexual qualities within your own psyche. For a man, it means cultivating his capacity for feeling, relatedness, intuition, and creativity. For a woman, it means cultivating her capacity for reason, assertiveness, independent thought, and purposeful action. This is not about becoming androgynous or blurring gender lines in a superficial way. It's about achieving psychological wholeness, where your masculine and feminine energies are in dynamic, harmonious balance within you. When you begin to integrate your anima or animus, several profound shifts occur. Firstly, your desperate need for external validation diminishes. You no longer need your partner to be your missing piece because you are actively working on becoming whole within yourself. This reduces neediness and clinginess, which are relationship killers. Secondly, your capacity for genuine empathy and understanding skyrockets. Because you are more in touch with the full spectrum of human experience within yourself, you can better understand and connect with your partner's inner world. Thirdly, you become far less susceptible to blind infatuation based on projection. You start to see people more clearly for who they truly are with their strengths and flaws. This allows you to make more conscious, mature choices in your relationships. You begin to attract and be attracted to individuals who are also on a path of self-awareness and integration, leading to healthier, more sustainable partnerships. A balanced relationship in the Jungian sense is one where both individuals are committed to their own inner work. They support each other's growth but do not make the other person responsible for their wholeness. There is a deep respect for individuality, combined with a profound capacity for connection. Communication is more open and honest because there's less fear of triggering unconscious complexes. Conflicts, when they arise, are seen as opportunities for deeper understanding and growth, rather than battles to be won or lost. There is a sense of partnership in the truest sense, two whole individuals choosing to walk their paths together, enhancing each other's journey. This inner work is the ultimate form of self-improvement and the forging of mental toughness. It requires courage to confront your shadow, to own your projections, and to develop the underdeveloped parts of your personality. It's far easier to blame your partner or the world for your unhappiness than to undertake the rigorous discipline of self-integration. But the rewards are immeasurable, not just balanced relationships, but a profound sense of personal power, authenticity, and an unstoppable inner core. So, what are the practical strategies for this deep integration in our demanding modern lives? This isn't a weekend workshop, it's a lifelong commitment to self-awareness. Embrace radical self-reflection. This is non-negotiable. Dedicate regular time for introspection. Journaling is an incredibly powerful tool. Ask yourself tough questions. For men, in what ways do I dismiss or devalue emotions, my own or others? What are my recurring patterns with women? What qualities do I admire or despise in women, and how might these reflect my unintegrated anima? For women, in what ways do I avoid taking intellectual responsibility or assertive action? What are my recurring patterns with men? What qualities do I overvalue or fear in men, and how might these reflect my unintegrated animus? Explore your dreams. Jung believed dreams are direct messages from the unconscious. Keep a dream journal and look for recurring themes or figures, especially contrasexual ones. They often personify your anima or animus. Consciously engage with the contrasexual. Men, actively cultivate your feeling side. Engage in activities traditionally considered feminine if they genuinely appeal to you, not for show, but for experience, art, music, poetry, deep conversations about feelings, spending time in nature with an attitude of receptivity rather than conquest. Practice empathy. Try to feel what others are feeling. Women, actively cultivate your masculine side. Develop your logical thinking. Take on challenging projects that require strategic planning and execution. Practice assertiveness. Engage in debates respectfully. Learn a new skill that requires discipline and focus. Own your intellectual and agentic capabilities. Challenge your projections relentlessly. This is where the brutal honesty comes in. When you find yourself intensely idealized or demonizing someone, especially a romantic partner or interest, stop. Pull back. Ask, what part of me am I seeing in this person? What unowned quality of my anima or animus are they carrying for me? This act of withdrawing the projection and taking responsibility for that inner content is a massive step towards integration. It's painful as it means letting go of fantasies, but it's liberating. Creative expression as an alchemical tool. The anima and animus are archetypal forces, rich in imagery and symbolic meaning. Engaging in creative activities, writing, painting, sculpting, music, dance, provides a channel for these inner figures to express themselves and become more conscious. Don't worry about the quality of the art. Focus on the process of bringing something from your inner world into outer form. This is how you dialogue with these deep parts of yourself. Mindful consumption of media and culture. Be aware of how gender stereotypes in media, literature, and societal narratives might be reinforcing undeveloped aspects of your anima or animus. Are you unconsciously buying into limited definitions of masculinity or femininity? Actively seek out and engage with portrayals that show integrated, whole individuals. Shadow work is inescapable. the anima and animus often reside in the shadow, those parts of ourselves we have repressed or denied. Integrating them means confronting these shadow aspects. For a man, this might mean confronting his vulnerability, his need for connection, or his fear of emotional expression. For a woman, it might mean confronting her ambition, her intellectual power, or her fear of being seen as too strong or opinionated. This is uncomfortable work, but it's where the gold is hidden. Seek conscious relationships. As you do this inner work, you will naturally become more attracted to and attractive to individuals who are also on a path of self-awareness. Seek partners who value growth, who are willing to engage in honest communication, and who respect your journey towards wholeness as you respect theirs. A relationship can be a powerful container for mutual integration, but only if both partners are committed to the process. It cannot be one-sided. Understand this is a journey, not a destination. The integration of the anima and animus is not a one-time achievement. It's an ongoing process of refinement, deepening, and discovery throughout your life. There will be setbacks, moments of falling back into old patterns. The key is to maintain awareness, to practice self-compassion, not self-pity, and to recommit to the work. This resilience in the face of inner challenges is the hallmark of true mental toughness. The secret that Jung unveiled is that the quality of your external relationships is a direct reflection of your relationship with these powerful inner archetypes. By neglecting your anima or animus, you condemn yourself to a life of projection, misunderstanding, and relational imbalance. You remain a fragment, seeking wholeness in others, an endeavor doomed to fail. You give away your power, your energy, and your peace of mind to unconscious dynamics. But by courageously embracing the task of integrating your inner feminine or masculine, you reclaim that power. You build an unshakable foundation of self-awareness and inner balance. You transform from someone buffeted by unconscious forces into a conscious creator of your relational reality. This is not just about having better relationships. It's about becoming a more complete, more potent, more authentic human being. It's about unlocking a level of personal freedom and effectiveness that permeates every area of your life. The path of anima and animus integration is not easy. It demands honesty, courage, and persistent effort. It requires you to confront the parts of yourself you've ignored or devalued. But the alternative is to remain at the mercy of unconscious patterns, to repeat the same mistakes, to experience the same heartaches, and to never truly know the depth of connection and fulfillment that is possible when two whole individuals come together. So the choice is yours. Will you continue to seek an external fix for an internal problem, chasing illusions and perpetuating cycles of disappointment? Or will you accept the profound challenge and the even more profound reward of the anima and animus, Jung's secret to balanced relationships? Will you dare to look within, to do the hard work of integration, and to forge not only balanced relationships but an indomitable spirit, an unstoppable mindset, and a life of authentic power and meaning? The journey starts now. Commit to understanding these forces within you. Commit to the daily practice of self-awareness. Commit to withdrawing your projections and owning your inner world. This is the path to destroying weakness, building unshakable resilience, and creating relationships that are not a source of pain, but a testament to your own evolving wholeness. The power to transform your relationships and your life lies not in changing others, but in mastering the rich, complex, and powerful landscape within yourself. Embrace it, conquer it, and watch as your world and your connections within it transform.